And I basically lost somewhere in the range of 2.5 to 3.5 million. It's in the millions, multiple X millions that I potentially could have had.
Right.
Oh well, we tried. Say, starting your own business, if you think it's going to cost you $500,000 to start it, double it or triple it. Actually, I ended up taking the company over at the age of 31. And at the time we had 110 employees. Both my parents both passed away young. And so I knew the business, so that's how we started. Literally with 2 or 3 days left to signing the contract, we lost the deal. We had an emergency meeting, we flew to Beijing, and I met the new CEO, and he basically closed the deal in the first 5 minutes of the meeting. Our sales declined rapidly.
Sure.
So I had to close down that operation. 2 hot-headed Irishmen split in the early 60s. And unfortunately, it was a pretty negative split. Yeah, there was a lot of bad blood. So millions and millions of dollars in investment in that facility, and they just closed it down. Proto Trak Lathe.
You got a 4th on this.
Yeah, 4th axis on this one. Yep.
From Yorkshire, England.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been here in the States?
8 years. You know, what we do is art. And as you get better and better at it, and you can do more and more things, you know, you basically get to a point where you can build anything.
The Department of Defense gave this one company up $1 billion. That was the biggest one we could get in the door. We did a project for a U.S. Defense project for a sight flow indicator. I think it was a spy plane. It's the most expensive sight flow in the world. Sold for about $250,000.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that cost $250,000. All right, this week I was in Northern Jersey at Chem Flowtronics and got to talk to Kevin Mooney, who's the owner there. They make process equipment for the mining, pharmaceutical, biotech, and chemical industries. So let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Kevin Mooney, and I am the CEO, founder of Chem Flowtronics.
Do you recommend that people run their own business?
I mean, if you have the drive to do it, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, being an entrepreneur, I've been doing it my whole life, right? So, and it was kind of in the blood. It's fun when it's good, and when it's not, you just have to grin and bear it and keep going, right? So there's always changes in the market, right? One thing that I found over the years that when things get hard, that's when you really dig in, and I start getting involved in doing something. Like, instead of sitting around saying, "Oh my God," what we do, I just start contacting clients.
Right.
And just start reaching out.
Jump in a
just
sales
say
mode.
hello, what's going on, and just keep going. And then doors open up, but sometimes it doesn't. It opens up on his time, not ours. So.
For sure.
Yeah. One thing I would say, starting your own business, if you think it's going to cost you $500,000 to start it, double it or triple it. There's always a lot more costs at getting going.
Yeah.
Son Gavin mentioned to me, Dad, think about what being an entrepreneur, what it's like, and I've been told time and time again that you should always put yourself first. I'm just the opposite. My wife and I are last, in terms of, our salaries. We're here to build the business and keep it going. If we're comfortable, we're fine.
Yeah.
Are we going to be sitting next to Elon Musk at the inauguration? No. But it's all good, and it's been So we've been totally blessed with that. It's amazing. There's so many times I hear you went to that college, and I'm a devout Catholic, and when you need something, he always comes through. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really mind-boggling. Not, when I say comes through, just gives you enough.
Right, sure.
So once I say, just give me a little break,
Yeah.
But it's been really very, very powerful in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, with running a business and the ups and downs, you have plenty of opportunity to see the Lord's provision, right?
Yes. Oh, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's times doing this so many years and doing different projects, and like I said, the investment in, doing the investor banking in China, doing that kind of stuff just developed,
Sure.
So it's all good.
Yep. Yeah.
We manufacture a variety of products. One of the our major volume line is called sight flow indicators. So if you ever want to see something flowing through a line, whether that line is plastic, metal, any kind of metals, we can install a sight flow. It does not measure. It's just a visual confirmation. So sight flow indicators in dual window and tubular. We also make, it's called full view. Then we make a Teflon line check valves, spring-loaded check valve. We make a Teflon line relief valve. We go up to 4x6 now, so 4-inch inlet, 6-inch outlet. So we make vacuum breakers. We have a full line of pharmaceutical and chemical mixers. Another product line we make is called the reflux splitter, which was developed, it's a niche, one of the designs we have was developed by my uncle. The other one was developed by my father. They do the same thing, but they do it differently. And
so your dad and his brother designed the same product?
Well, let me tell you why. Yeah, because they started their firm in 1947. And
quick plug for my day job as a salesman for Campro USA in Pennsylvania. This is our most popular machine, and I'm just going to show you some clips of it taking a cut. If you want to come see one of these in Bethlehem, reach out to me in the comments below, or my email is linked to the channel. Appreciate you watching.
Hot-headed Irishman split in the early 60s. And unfortunately, it was a pretty negative split. Yeah, there was a lot of bad blood, a lot of things. Remember I was talking about pulling lines?
Yeah.
My uncle started a competitor as a silent partner to our large firm, and he ended up taking some of our larger lines and salesmen. So it was not pretty.
That sounds nasty.
It was a little nasty. They finally reconciled. You know, family. Yeah, family is family. So, yeah, we do systems work, and so this is a system that we designed. It's basically a distillation system with heaters and chillers. So this is the key. This is the reactor, and that's this right here.
Oh, cool.
So there's this is
a complicated part.
This is a jacketed reactor, and I think it's really cool because this is like 1 liter. So it's all made here, all the parts, and we put it together. So this is the core. This is the core to the system. So that's that. Actually, I started working in this plant I was 13 years old. So my father would bring me in for summer school.
Okay.
We had a full glass blowing facility. I wasn't really a good glass blower, but I did. It's an art, and
sure.
We also had a valve assembly and actuation shop, which I worked in. We had a pump shop. We had millions of dollars of inventory of different piping systems. We had 3 divisions. So we had the distributor business. We had the manufacturing group, and then we had a company. We had other locations. We had Minnesota, New England, Puerto Rico, and some other locations. Wow. Actually, I ended up taking the company over at the age of 31. And at the time, we had 110 employees. Both my parents both passed away young, and so I knew the business. So that's how I started. Yeah, so it was quite exciting.
Yeah,
exciting times. Yes, this is our engineering area where we do. We have AutoCAD and all kinds of things. We do laser printing. We do 3D printing in there. So receiving. So raw materials come in here. We have, this is our Teflon inventory. These are billets of molded PTFE. So this is our saw, our CNC saw. An interesting, this is how we started in CNC.
Okay.
Not with this machine. This is the third or fourth machine we've had in doing this. But the original one, we used to have a manual horizontal bandsaw.
Right.
And we didn't have any CNC.
Okay.
We set it up and we did the first run cutting pipe, carbon steel pipe. And I asked my production manager, I said, well, how'd it go? He goes, yeah, really good. He goes, we did it in 6 hours. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. What would it have taken if we did it with our old machine? And he said, well, it would have probably taken about 2 days.
Wow.
I was like, really? So
Big savings.
The light went on, and then from there I started buying CNC machines.
Of course.
So, yeah.
So you did everything with manual bridge ports and engine lathes and stuff
that is correct, yes. Yeah, everything was manual prior to that. Yeah, so 304, 316. We just mentioned the 904 project. We also do 303s for non-wetted components. And we also deal in what's called Hastelloys.
Yeah.
Hastelloy, very tough.
Very abrasive material, right?
Yeah, exactly. C22 and 276.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the 2 preferred. C22 is, my understanding, it's a better corrosion resistant. It's slightly more expensive, but when you get to those levels, it's really not even noticeable.
So like Hastelloy, for a normal piece of Hastelloy that you get, can you give me an idea of how much that costs?
I would say it's anywhere from 7 to 10x stainless. We're actually bidding, we just got a large project with a company, a major pharmaceutical in C22 Haas.
Is it the local large pharmaceutical?
Yes,
that
it's
we know
one of
about?
them.
Okay.
It's Bristol Myers.
Okay.
I won't mention the plant, but
Right.
it is in New Jersey.
Yeah. I was thinking Stryker just because I know they're huge.
Oh, Stryker.
Oh no, they're
They build.
medical implant stuff. That's
Right.
not pharmaceutical. All right. I
Well,
got it.
it's in the same. It's in the same procedures. You know, the SOPs for manufacturing that. So yeah. So behind us, this is the welding section. We have a full-time welder. We got it certified at Section 9. So this is actually a part that, excuse my fingers. So this is a 316. These are sanitary tri-clamp connections. This is a 1 inch, and I think that's a 2 inch. So this is what we would call a drip tube. What we're working on now, excuse my fingers here, we are, the customer doesn't want any impurities to be able to get caught in there, so we have to clean it up. But you can see our workmanship. Yeah. So this is our metal finishing areas.
Okay.
So we do the polishing, we do sandblasting. Behind there is our tumbler for the polishing. Mm-hmm. And then we have, this is a notching machine, which we use for a very specific operation. Mm-hmm. Proto Trak Lathe, this is one of our first CNC purchases. We still use it every day.
Nice. Very nice conversational control, right?
Yes, conversational controller, yes. So we bought this Samsung and the SL20 and the 50 over there, the milling machine, from an auction in Pittsburgh. And these are 2004s. At the time, they were only like 8 years old or something, less than that. So we bought those together, and we actually had a hard hinge back against that wall, but we sold that the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a new purchase in 2023, I think.
You use some pretty big parts then if you got a VF5 here.
Yeah, that was the biggest one we could get in the door.
Okay.
So that's how we got it. And then we have, over here we have the 35Y.
35Y, so you got a Y-axis on it. So
Yep.
And I'm assuming live turret if you got a Y-axis.
Yep.
So you do some milling with it.
Yes, yes. So that's always the decision. A lot of our parts are flat stock, different diameters, different thicknesses, that we have a profile for holes. So do we do the turning and then put them back in the milling,
right,
or do we just do it there?
Yeah, one out.
Yeah, so we try. It depends on the quantity, and tooling gets a little more expensive,
Sure.
on this side.
Yeah, live station is
Yeah.
what,
So
$3 to $5 grand or something. You got a fourth on this.
Yeah, fourth axis on this one. Yep.
Okay.
So we do a lot of holes inside of pipes. I don't see a lot of parts here.
Yeah.
We can see the stuff over there.
Now, are they all on center line of the pipe, or do you do like
Offset?
Offset.
Most of them are center line, but
Yeah.
we do offsets too, yeah.
Do
We like to rotate, so we have holes 180 degrees apart.
Right.
So the fourth axis, for the rotation, works fine.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we have our Track 3, which is, one of the original
Okay.
programming, conversational programming.
How old is this one?
Oh God, late 90s.
Yep. Cool.
We actually rebuilt it ourselves a lot. The spindle.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we do. We've been doing a lot of work internally on it. Make
Cool.
our own parts.
Nice.
So I'd like to introduce you to Rich here.
Hey, Rich.
This is
How you
Chad.
doing? Chad. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, welcome, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So you run the mills here, or what's your
Yeah,
role
that's
here?
right. Yeah, so I run these 2 lathes, and then I run, these 3 lathes, sorry, and then I run these 2 mills as well.
Cool.
We run kind of different processes on different machines. Like, for example, Proto Trak down here. It's really good for onesie-twosie stuff because you've got the tracking ability on there, so you can bang it straight out. And then we run a lot of plastic on there because it hasn't got much torque and horsepower.
Right.
So it's great for plastic.
Yep. Yep.
On here, we run a lot of our general production.
Uh-huh.
In this case, we're running what we like to call tie rods.
Okay.
And these hold parts of our assemblies together. So when this is finished, this will be mirrored on the other side, and then the nuts will come down and tighten things together.
Gotcha.
So these are a huge part of our process. This is stainless 316.
Uh-huh.
So we generally do that kind of production on there. Mm-hmm. And then on the Haas ST35, we've got the live tooling on there, right? Yep. superpowers all over with that.
Yeah, you do one up instead of putting it in the mill,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. We use it a lot. We do like a lot of what we call radius ends, and I know a lot of companies around the world do that. And yeah, I'll just flip that turret for you. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff with the end mills here as well.
Right.
Sometimes we'll position them radial, axial. Sometimes we're drilling on here.
Yep.
Sometimes we're roughing out features. All kinds of stuff.
Yep, very cool.
And then this guy, we've got 4th axis on there.
Yeah, cool.
We have this set up like, so we do other stuff on here as well, but we have like one coordinate system, say G55, and you know the center of the Y and the Z is always set because it's to the center of the chuck.
Right.
Right. So if I'm very rare scenario, like if I'm doing say something that's 4" on there, I'm programming in plus. You know, the top of my part
Right.
is X2 point, right?
Yep.
And when I do it like that, the only thing that I have to do is just adjust that X, which is a little variable. And then once the X is done, boom, part goes straight on, and it works every single time.
Nice. So you have kind of a family of parts, and you can just make those couple edits to your program.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
So that's generally what we do over here. So with that nice little setup, we can get things moving on here really fast. I'm working on these guys at the moment. So we've roughed this out, we've finished this side. This nut's gonna go on here. Not really a challenge,
Right.
it's just general threading, right? And then that side's gonna go on there. And then on here now, we have a MPT thread mill. So I'm just gonna open up this side here,
Yep.
tricoid all that up, and then run the thread mill on here, and then that'll finish this part. So I mean, I guess there's a little challenge in that part. Not really, I guess.
Yeah.
Most
Sounds
things are
like you
just
figured it out already.
just time, right?
yeah.
Everything is just time.
Do you have any tools in the shop that are like your favorite tools that you're like, I wish I had this 3 years ago or something? Or?
Well, one for sure, like one thing I will recommend to a lot of people, these end mills come from Mari tool, right?
Okay.
And these guys are a little rough. This is just a 250 rougher. Typically I use a 1/2" one of these, and I have a 375 as well. But a 1/2" end mill from Mari tool for this is like $45. And I can get an astonishing amount of roughing out with this.
Right.
Granted, in stainless, when you're slotting, you're going slow, right? Especially if you want to look after your spindle. So you're probably looking at like 800 RPM and a 3" feed. But these end mills, I'll suck up 0.25, 0.3 depth of cut all day long, one end mill. So these, I mean, I can't be grateful enough for these for the price of them. And I think for people starting out, Mari Tool's a great place to look.
Okay.
Because there's not even a middleman there either. They only supply directly to a customer.
Right.
So there's no middleman taking a slice of the pie.
Yep.
Everything you see on their website is exactly what it is.
Cool.
And they have great tool holders as well.
Okay.
They're all manufactured in America. So I'll run these. I know you've probably seen these a million times.
Okay. Is that a?
But it's just a little twist top, right?
Yeah. Is that an Iscar or a what am I thinking of? What brand is that?
This is a,
Or Ingersoll maybe?
yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Uh-huh,
I thought
it
it
is
looked like an
Ingersoll.
Ingersoll.
Couldn't get the word in my head then.
Yep.
Yeah, they're Ingersoll, and economically they're absolutely fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
You're
running
not
in.
scrapping a whole chunk of carbide, right?
Yeah, you're not scrapping a lot of carbide. This runs 7 inches, no peck all day long, and
Is
makes,
that through cooling on those ones?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you're in the stainless game, like
gotta have through
you
spindle.
gotta have through spindle coolant. Just
Yeah.
drilling's an absolute nightmare.
Oh yeah.
And you know that can add up really fast without good process.
How's your chip evacuation in this machine? I've heard complaints before
Oh,
about.
I mean, Haas is great for a lot of things,
Yeah.
and chip conveyors is never one of them. This one,
Heard that.
It just doesn't really function properly, right? Because a lot of the chips just don't
Right.
go down.
Yeah,
to
they
the place,
pile
so
up, right?
They'll pile up, especially around the sides, down here.
Yep.
But more than here, this one's a nightmare. So this one here, stringy chips, stainless. Sometimes you get stringy chips, and you're always going to get that perfect chip breaker, right? And stringy chips, they can go around the conveyor and they can get stuck here when they come back through.
Yep.
And now, you know, if they get stuck there and it doesn't come all the way back round, you got to reverse it. And all of a sudden you just start bleeding time. So,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm forced to use it, I use it. But sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I'm just happy just scooping out the chips myself.
Really?
And it just keeps my day going faster and faster.
Yeah.
I think when you're a production guy, especially high-end production,
Yeah.
and you want reliability and you want to make a lot of parts, the Harvey T becomes a very cheap end mill.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I think
Your
when
cost
you
per part.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think when you're swapping between a lot, doing a lot of thin wall stuff,
Right. Chipping out stuff.
yeah, not necessarily going to be the most effective for me in every moment. Sometimes the cheaper end mill does it for me.
Right.
But like when we've had big jobs on here with like big 3D milling jobs, so I've had to hog out lots of material. We've been using GAR end mills.
Okay.
And we've had substantial, you know, very good tool life.
Yeah.
And the Go drills also from Kennametal.
Oh, yeah.
Very productive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Everybody loves the Go drills.
everyone loves the Go drills. When you're seeing you drilling in aluminum over 50 inches and you're getting a perfect hole,
Right.
it almost just looks surreal watching it, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
It's
and
like
you can do
something
it in any
like
material.
something you watch more on a YouTube video than
Right.
actually in shop. So it's very cool.
Yeah, the Go drills, it's a cool design. Most drills for the first, I don't know what the exactly, but maybe 1 times D of the flute length, there's a margin which is in contact with the wall of the part to stabilize the drill as it goes in, kind of like a bushing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Go drill goes out to the corners and then it's just straight back taper from there. So although it doesn't give you quite the tolerance as maybe another drill would, it reduces the heat buildup because you don't have as big of a contact patch. So they'll
Yeah,
last
gotcha.
longer because it's less heat getting put into the carbide.
Yeah.
It's a cool design. Yeah.
And then the Harvey Core 5s.
Yeah. For aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the stainless ones as well. I haven't
Sure.
really had opportunity to use them so much. But the aluminum ones, they go forever. I
Yeah.
think I've had them loaded up, hogging over 250 inches for 3 months of the
Yeah.
same end mill. And it just goes and goes. I mean, the Alu Power from YG1 will give you the best finish in aluminum. But for hogging them out, the Harvey Core 5, that is something special.
Yeah.
And then keep your coolant at 10%. You know, generally shops I've worked at run it about 7 to 8%. But that little kick of concentration really does add to the tool life and really helps you out and, you know, keeps it cooler.
Mm.
So that's a really important variable with
Yeah.
stainless as
A
well.
lot of shops overlook their coolant.
Yeah,
You walk in and you can smell it.
yeah.
The bacteria in the coolant, it hasn't been changing for years.
We'll do it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to really look after your health, right? You don't realize it, but when you're breathing that in, you're just breathing bacteria.
Right.
And, you know, everyone wants to do well and everyone wants to make parts, but you ain't doing that long term if you're introducing new health problems. So you just got to get it done. Nobody likes coolant there.
Yeah, that nasty coolant sucks. Yeah. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Yorkshire, England.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been here in the States?
8 years.
Okay. What
Yeah.
brought you over? Do you mind me asking?
I met my wife in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And she just happens to be a Jersey girl, so here I am. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you miss home?
I miss home in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
then in other ways, you know, I love it here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously like friends and,
Sure.
you know, certain TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I'm big into soccer, so, you know.
Cool. And you were a machinist in the UK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight out of school I started,
Yeah.
yeah. I always had a natural ability with maths and
Yeah.
struggled a little bit more with English and asked the career advisor, hey, what do you recommend for me? And mechanical engineering and manufacturing. And in England, there's a lot of apprenticeship schemes set up for people like me and you.
Okay.
So the 4 qualifications I have in this field are all paid for by the government. And they do that to keep replenishing the manufacturing
Sure.
for the next generation. So
Yeah, we need to get more robust apprenticeship programs here in the U.S.
it's very challenging getting a job in England in this field
Really?
because you're battling against a lot of people to get
Wow.
it.
Interesting. That's not
But
the
in New
case here.
Jersey, where there's not really supported with government grants and
Right.
apprenticeships so much, very easy to get a job.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it's one of
Every
the
shop
key,
is looking for machinists.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the key reasons why we're here is it's just so much easier for me to
Oh, yeah.
prosper in my career.
Sure. Do you recommend getting into machining?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're using equipment, you know, the same price of a luxury car to craft all different kinds of things. And, you know, what we do is art. And as you get better and better at it and you can do more and more things, you know, you basically get to a point where you can build anything.
Right. That's a different feeling. It's kind of empowering, right?
It is.
Knowing
It's wonderful, yeah. I mean, like, go down, just draft. At this point now, after 20 years, I can just draft anything down and go with it, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you're making something in the physical world, right?
Making something in the physical world. I think a lot of jobs in this new age now, you sat down at a computer all day, but this industry gives you a nice balance. I'm probably sat down programming 40% of my day, say, and the rest of it's setting up and getting that job going.
Right.
So you get a nice balance, sit down, stand up, move around a lot. I'd hate to be sat down all day.
Right, right.
I think like one of the mechanical engineers that are very close to us in this industry, they suffer with that, right? They're always sat down every day. They've got a great job, great salary, but not great for the health when they're sat down all the time.
Yeah, that's kind of why I got into this. I did mechanical engineering in college, and my dad was mechanical engineer and did two sides of it. He did the engineering, and then he did like the sales side. And he just was like, oh, you don't want to be behind a desk all day. And I'm not built that way either.
Yeah.
So this way it gets me out. I go to all these shops and see stuff. But, stay out of the office as much as I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep you young.
Yeah.
Keep you young, really.
Yep. Cool. Remind me of your name?
Richard.
Richard. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And thanks for talking. And looks like you're doing some nice work here.
Yeah. I wish I had more to show you in this moment. I think, like I say, a lot of the stuff we do is custom and onesie, twosie. So we're shipping. Yeah, we're shipping as soon as that's ready. We don't really have many lates here for the time of being here, and straight out the door, and we go again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good for you guys.
Thank you, man. Pleasure.
How did you transition from that business into this business?
Sure. So we were talking about pilot plants before.
Yeah.
All the pharma. So our customer base at that time was 70-80% pharma. So with that, a lot of the plants started slowing down. We didn't feel it initially. I'll mention they're not there anymore. Hoffman LaRoche in Nutley was one of our largest accounts. And they continued with that cycle, that purchasing cycle. So it was good for us. But and the other customers were slowing down or shutting down. And then all of a sudden, Hoffman LaRoche hit the same wall and decided that they were going to close that facility. So when that decision was made, and prior to that, it really slowed down. So our sales declined rapidly.
Sure.
So I had to close down that operation. And I always, I would tell my wife, Ann, I'd say that, we have this small group here, and it's, the product lines are solid. We know they work. And the margins in that product line were excellent. Actually, at one time, our firm was going to be the U.S. Arm of the glass piping business for a European company. And we negotiated that deal, and on the last, literally with 2 or 3 days left to signing the contract, we lost the deal. So it was meant to be, I guess, but it was a little devastating. Yeah.
A little devastating.
Yeah. I also got involved in doing some some investing, not as an investor, but working with a Chinese firm, which was in the laboratory glass field. And I worked with the owner in China, and who had a business here in the States, California. It's a long story how we got tied down, but anyway, we were working together. I was repping his product to see what we could do. And he gave me a call one day and said, what do you think about me selling the business? I said, well, I didn't know it was for sale. And he said, yeah. I said, one of my competitors, or no, my accountant wants to buy the business. I said, well, that's a good sign. If your accountant wants to buy it, I said, I didn't know you want to sell the business. He goes, well, if it's worthwhile. So he said, do you want to sell the business in the U.S. or try to sell it? Absolutely. So I made 3 calls, and a month later, I got a call back from a CEO of a $100 million laboratory glass business / laboratory supply. And that began a 4 or 5 year process. And it went well. We were selling product in the U.S. through them. Is a long story. Anyway, again, the CEO. So we had a closing date. Now this is 4 years into the making. So we were working on that, and with about 2 weeks, somewhere in that range, to close the deal, the U.S. company fired the CEO. And the CEO that they brought in definitely had a different, for instance, the CEO that they fired almost was like father to the Chinese manufacturer. They were that close over the 4 years. So he was very upset.
Yeah.
We had an emergency meeting. We flew to Beijing, and I met the new CEO, and he basically closed the deal in the first 5 minutes of the meeting.
Flew all the way to Beijing.
Yeah. We were there for a week. I was keeping it together. I mean, we almost, we kind of patched it around, but anyway, the CEO said in the first 5 minutes, I'll never forget it, he said, I read the deal on the plane coming over, and I don't like it. Maybe we can make some changes. And some other comments. And my Chinese guy looked at me, my contact, and I was like, oh man, it's going to be a hard one.
Ooh.
So long story short, the deal never went through in the design that we had it. And I basically lost somewhere in the range of 2.5 to 3.5 million.
Oh, personally?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, yep. And actually, and then I actually set up another deal for him with a company called VWR. And I was involved in that, but they knocked me out of that one too. And to this day, I think they're still doing business. So I should have been getting commission on that also. So it's in the millions, multiple X millions that I potentially could have had.
Right.
Oh well, we tried.
Well, geez.
We got some nice.
Keeping going, trying
we
to
got
get deals.
Yeah. You got to be creative. So it was. We got some really great trips. Learned a lot about glass manufacturing, a lot about Chinese manufacturing, and I was there when China was not. Like for instance, I'm going off on a tangent, but China was at the time. I can just compare it to the airport. Real simple analysis. When I landed in Beijing the first time, I looked outside, and by the way, when you walk through the airport, people hit you.
Yeah. They don't do personal space much.
Correct. Yeah. So that I had to learn that.
Right.
I had to learn that.
I've had that experience before.
Okay. All right. Well,
Not in China, Chinatown.
Okay. There
Yeah.
you go. Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's nothing negative. It's
Right.
just the
Cultural
way it is.
difference.
That's right.
Of course.
So looking out the window at the airport, I would see cars. Okay. There would be junks, literally broken down at the airport with people working on them or whatever they were doing. And you would see some Chinese manufactured cars, and then you would see some Buicks and maybe one BMW, that kind of stuff. My story goes on, 3, 4, 5 trips to Beijing. The last time I'm looking out, all I saw was BMW, Mercedes, and Buicks.
Wow. And over what time span was that?
About 7 years.
From
Yeah, when did I start that? That would have been, mid-90s and on. Yeah.
So that's like when the globalization kind of
started kicking in, yeah.
Was-
So we had a lot of trips. Novartis, they built a new pilot plant in East Hanover, which we supplied a lot of equipment to. We serviced it. It was a very good account of ours. In the 15-year range, 12, 15-year range, they closed it down. So millions and millions of dollars in investment in that facility, and they just closed it down. Now it's grass.
Really?
Yeah, they tore it down. It's cleaned it up. You have to make sure you're all clean. Now it's just a grass field.
Have you seen a shift in maybe like reshoring of manufacturing in the past couple years at all?
In terms of the pharmaceutical, I'm going to say yes. We're seeing more projects get the green light.
Specifically post-COVID, maybe?
Well, here, let me give you, for instance, the Bristol Myers project I talked about. I started working on that, working with the engineers about the design in 2021. We just got the order on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve here. Yeah, so there's a lot of things in play in flux with Pharma.
Yeah.
But Pharma is just one of our one of our customer base. The real exciting thing for us has been the mining. We're for rare earth production, in particular, a big mine out in California.
For like the
Rare earth, the elements.
For the batteries, correct?
Correct.
Is the big thing out there?
Right, correct. The Department of Defense gave this one company, I'm told, let's call it a grant / loan, somewhere in the north, a little bit south of $1 billion to invest in their facility in California. It's a huge facility, which I've been out to, and for the rare earth. And we procured one of our largest orders from that project in 2023.
That's probably a good customer to have.
Yeah, we're working with them on a variety of projects going forward. I think the rare earth, I can't really tell what's going on, but we all hear the negative information about battery and cars and so forth. So I'm not sure how that's impacting the market. we'll have to see this year.
Yeah, I've heard that that's like the biggest deposit of some super important rare earth in the world or something.
Yeah, well, and it's also a security issue for the U.S.
Sure.
because most of it the majority of it comes from China.
Right.
So obviously, if we have
critical natural resource.
correct, yeah.
Yep.
So the DoD wants us to expand our capabilities.
Yeah.
I believe in the U.S.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. One thing I should mention: our company we did a project for a U.S. defense project for a site flow indicator that was mounted on in a plane. I think it was a spy plane.
Okay.
The project was right around the Iraq War initially. So the reason I mention is because they were talking about ISO 9000. So I had a consultant on the project. Actually, he was an engineer. He worked at Sigurd Kirfot. He was in charge of the laser gyro division. So extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
So we basically worked up our ISO QSM and QCM manuals. Right up to the point where we were could get certified, but it was another 10 grand.
Yeah.
So we didn't do it because our customer was fine with that.
Yeah.
So they signed off on our quality control system.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to get the certification. Unequivocally, we have not been asked for an ISO certificate from anyone.
Right. Yeah. If you give them
Other
quality
than that
parts
project,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you that. I'll show you that product later. But it's the most expensive site flow in the world. It's made out of aluminum, basic aluminum. I'm not talking anything crazy. And each unit essentially was like a 3 or 4 inch site flow with special ends. And that unit sold for about $250,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, one unit. I have one in my office.
To see what made it so expensive, but.
All the testing.
Oh, okay.
And so it had to go through vibration tests, temperature tests, extreme colds, extreme heat. So we had to send it all out to do all those testing. We spent about $50,000 on the test.
Wow.
Yeah, our cost.
Right.
Yeah. So
you made it was a good deal for you.
Well, yeah, they were supposed to buy multiple units, but unfortunately, the Iraq War took all the funding away from the project. They killed it.
Mm.
But we have 4 or 5 of them in a draw.
Wow.
This is actually a level gauge. This is a site flow. I'll show you some products upstairs. This is a level gauge. Okay. So there's a hole in there that goes down into the middle.
Okay.
Henry's building these are dual window site flows.
Okay.
And these are for Vitalik ends. That's the type of end. So it actually clamps in pipe. So here's some of our site flows. These are CPVC. And then we have tubular units. This is a dual window. I think this one might be a Haas toy. Okay. Yeah, so we do the, machine it and we profile it in. Yep. But then our standard labels are like that. We buy them and then we have a laser printer.
Yep.
We were standing right here today.
Okay.
That's the door we were by. Yeah, so this is back in the 60s. Oh, there's our the machine shop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got an old bridge for there.
Yep. And then all the Teflon. Yeah, same pictures.
Neat.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool
this is
that.
yeah. It's all. Here's the glass blowing facility that we had. So that's before, yeah. So that's the glass blowing. Yeah,
Neat.
we can go on and on. So this is.
Wow. So that cost $250,000.
Yeah, we sold $250,000.
Wow. And that's just really rigorously tested.
Yeah. L3 was the company, was the contractor.
Oh, L3 Harris. Very cool. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for showing us around the shop. And
Thanks for coming and spending the time.
It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, great. No, thank you.